Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast, a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. This is one of those video ones, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Grammarly and the scores that they give. And it can be sometimes misleading, but every letter of intent I help with has a 99 by the time it's done. And the reason I'm pulling this document up is that UCSF actually put up at career.ucf.edu a letter of intent that has some of their stuff, but also took some of my template. So the reason my template isn't a full letter is for exactly this reason, that this is actually a B letter. It only gets a score of 87. It doesn't get a score of 99. So there are many errors in here. And there's a lot of passive voice, and I wanted to show you what it takes to take a letter like this, which could be very good. This is a person who has some great stories, has a great background, and a lot of those things. But again, unfortunately, this is not an A letter. And yes, they got a residency, but if you're from UCSF, you don't have to be very high in your class to get a residency. They're established as one of the best in the country as the college, and they're just a great school and have a great match rate. All right, so let's fix the problems first that Grammarly has identified, and there are 29 problems in this one. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems that Grammarly will not catch, that I can kind of catch from my experience as we kind of do this. So let's start with this guy. My long-term career goal is becoming a clinical pharmacy leader and educator. So it's saying that there's an unnecessary comma, so we just click on it and fix it. While also pursuing, and you don't need that word also, I was drawn. So this thing is something that Grammarly doesn't tell you how to fix it, but what you do is you change it to an active verb. So instead of I was drawn towards acute care practice experiences after enhancing my clinical skills through my adult surgery rotation, you just kind of backwards it. And so what you can do is this. So after enhancing my clinical skills through my adult surgery rotation, the acute care practice experiences drew me in. Now, that might be tough for you to do because sometimes those tenses with those irregular verbs are sometimes a little bit tough. Okay, but again, you can see that it's cleared. The next one, it's saying I'm familiar with the program after working with your, and so this is unnecessary. You're talking to the RPD, and you're telling them who their resident is. Well, they don't need to know that. They know exactly who it is. So you can just get rid of your PGY2 resident, Dr. Crystal Zephyr. You can just say with Dr. Crystal Zephyr, and you don't need to say doctor. So this is Dr. Crystal Zephyr, PharmD. Okay, so that's irrelevant. You can just say Dr. Crystal Zephyr. That's it. As a preceptor at Alpine Health, attending the virtual open house and having rotations at Tahoma Hospital. Okay, so what this is asking to do is rearrange the sentences to have a better flow. Okay, so you accept it, and then it'll rearrange it. Okay. Unclear antecedent means that this is too far away from whatever this was. So what is this? Okay, so it might be easier to go back and go, it was on this rotation that I was quickly trusted as the independent pharmacy contact on multidisciplinary rounds and fielded questions from 5 different surgical services. Obviously a super qualified candidate. This, okay, what was this, right? And so it's really this experience, or this experience that the person had, became my platform to voice my knowledge of medications. Okay, all right. And then there's some fixes. Instead of it was on this rotation that it's just on this rotation I. which is just a little bit more concise. Delirium-inducing, that should have a hyphen. Possess strong clinical, and what you want to do is kind of get rid of some of these words that are overused. So possess solid clinical, critical, say that 10 times fast, solid clinical, critical reasoning skills. Okay, all right. And then which is going to take a comma. And the word important we'll see over and over again, so we can change it to something like essential. Right? And here they're starting with Tahoma Hospital as a level 1 trauma center, comma, that facilitates the growth of medical learners. Right? And so what they were trying to do is put the name of the hospital in first, but really you want to introduce it, as this says. So it's a little bit tough, and you want to rephrase that. Okay. I gained, a lot of times the length of the sentence makes it very hard to read. So I gained a deeper understanding. If you run out of breath doing a sentence, that's kind of an easy way to tell. But on this rotation, I gained a deeper understanding of social determinants of health as the clinic's population largely faces challenges with housing and food insecurity, substance use disorder, and mental illness. So I could barely finish that sentence while breathing. That means it's too long. And that's what this is saying. It's like, okay, well, let's cut it into 2 sentences. I gained a deeper understanding of, and there should be and sometimes Grammarly misses little things like this, but I gained a deeper understanding of the social determinants of health. Okay. The clinic's population largely faces challenges with housing and food insecurity, substance use disorder, and mental illness. Okay. So you can say, okay, well, what is their biggest issue? Well, it's primarily facing challenges. And sometimes Grammarly will give you suggestions, and you really just don't know which one's correct or which one's right. The other 2 really wouldn't fit at all. The clinic's population primarily faces housing and food insecurity challenges, so it allows you to get a little more concise by rephrasing it. Okay. So the to navigate, a split infinitive just means that the to something got split by something else. And here we have adeptly. So what you want to do is kind of change it around a little bit. So I learned to navigate. That way the infinitive is together, to navigate, delicate conversations around mental health and social histories, adeptly. And this is, let me again rephrase, this is a very qualified candidate. What I'm saying is that when they wrote this letter, they didn't have someone that kind of either is a grammar person in their life or do Grammarly and have someone who understands how to use Grammarly. So just because you have it doesn't mean that you can use it right. You do need to know quite a bit about English to use it. All right. So what this is saying is that it's monotonous. Monotonous is a fancy way of just saying boring. And it's saying that on this rotation, the clinic's population primarily faces, I learned to navigate. It's just saying that it's like da-da-da-da-da-da. So how do we change this to go from monotonous? And what we want to do is just change the sentences just a little bit. So you can just say, on this rotation, I gained a deeper understanding of the social determinants of health. Okay? And what you want to do is take maybe something like this and put it either here in between them, or you can say something like, on this rotation, I gained a deeper understanding of the social determinants of health. Okay? What surprised me was that with so much abundance in the area, the clinic's population primarily faces housing and food insecurity challenges, substance abuse disorder, and mental illness. And what I did was I just put, okay, something like a question or something that was a little bit more, not exciting, but a little bit different. And what you do is you just kind of put that in there, and that kind of helps it out as well. There's another split infinitive here, and that it, so we'll just take that from that to it. Was selected. So at the end of my P1 year, I was selected as one of 20 peer teachers for UCSF's pharmacy teaching program. Okay, and again, what you can do is just put UCSF's pharmacy teaching program selected me as one of 20 peer teachers. Now, I get that a program, and when it happened is kind of irrelevant. Okay, so, and you would really put admit, because the program can't select you, a person must select you. Program committee selected me as one of the 20 peer teachers. Okay, start a new paragraph. Well, we'll see about that. We can just do that for now, but okay. My co-teachers and I took the initiative to plan each detail of this new program to not be reiterated of class material, but an engaging space for students to synthesize and apply their knowledge. What this person is doing is very exciting. What this person has is amazing. But what they've not done is taken the time to get things that might not need to be in there. Okay? So what they're trying to say is we took the initiative to do something new, okay? And what we want to do is we want to kind of cut that down a little bit. So my co-teachers and I took the initiative to ensure, and we'll get rid of all of this, ensure this was not a reiteration of class material, but an engaging space, okay, for students to synthesize and apply their knowledge. Again, this is that unclear antecedent. So it's saying this was rewarding. So you would just say the project was rewarding. Okay. This is another rearrange the sentence. You can usually just accept those. My co-teachers and I. And this is just where Grammarly may not understand what a co-teacher is. Okay. So you might just say my colleagues and I. Okay. My teaching colleagues might make it a little bit easier for it to understand. So colleagues and I took the initiative to ensure this was not a reiteration. Okay. And leadership to continually serve your patients while further exploring my interests in medicine and psychiatry. Tacoma Hospital is a strong environment. Again, that you can put robust. Strong is a little bit overused. For me to expand upon my pharmacy interests. And anytime you see an order to, you can probably always change it to 2. Again, this is a little hard to follow because of the order, so just click on it or rephrase the sentence. Okay. Get rid of the infinitive and expanding upon my pharmacy interests. I appreciate your consideration. Okay. And look forward to discussing with you my That's awkward. I appreciate your consideration. I look forward to further discussing my qualifications and fit for a program with you. Okay. All right. In common clinical pharmacy. Okay. Expanding. So now we see that I've turned this. This is now 100 out of 100. Okay. And when you do this, you can actually get a readability score. And then it's just saying that a higher score is a little bit easier to read. The amount of time it would take to read and so forth. But really, we're looking for a page to 2 pages, something like that. Okay. So what we have now is a letter that should be a 99. So all the boxes are checked. It actually gave it 100 out of 100. It's not a 99. I guess maybe that bothered some people that didn't happen. And so now we have a clear, we've got a clear letter according to Grammarly. But now we need to change some things. What I think I'll do is I'll split this into 2 episodes. So that was the episode on using Grammarly. And again, if you want my one-on help, it's at residency.teachable.com or just email me at tonythepharmacist@gmail.com. All you do is sign up for the course that you need and then give me an email with your document and I will get right to work. Usually things are done in 48 to 72 hours. We've got the holidays coming up, but I actually work at it's cool. My parents have a really nice place out in Arizona and I like to work at the dining room table there. It feels a lot like that kind of Harry Potter thing where you got the big tables and so forth. So that'll be the end of this one. That's how to use Grammarly to improve something. Now I'm going to talk about the things that a Grammarly does not catch that you need to do as well.